वासुदेवाय ॐ नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय ॐ नमो भगवते नारायणं नमस्कृत्य नरं चैव स्तुतिं व्यासं शृण्वतां स्वकथा कृष्ण पुण्यश्रवणकीर्तना हृदयन्तस्थो ह्यभद्राणि विधुनोति सुहृत्सतां नाष्टप्रायेषु भद्रेषु नित्यं भागवतसेवया के भक्तिर्भवति नैष्टिकी. Reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 4, titled Lord Vishnu's Arena, text 28, text number 28. जगज्जनन्यां जगदीशवैशसं स्यादेव यत्कर्मणि न समीहितं करोषि फल्गुवपि पुरुधीनवत्सला स्व एव धिष्ण्ये अभिरतस्य किं तया जगज्जनन्यां जगदीशवैशसं स्यादेव यत्कर्मणि न समीहितं करोषि फल्गुवपि पुरुधीनवत्सला स्व एव धिष्ण्ये अभिरतस्य किं तया. Translation and purport by His Divine Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Translation. My dear Lord of the universe, the goddess of fortune, Lakshmi, is the mother of the universe, and yet I think that she may be angry with me because of my intruding upon her service and acting on that very platform to which she is so much attached. Yet I am hopeful that even though there is some misunderstanding, you will take my part, for you are very much inclined to the poor, and you always magnify even insignificant service unto you. Therefore, even though she becomes angry, I think that there is no harm for you, because you are so self sufficient that you can do without her. Purport. Mother Lakshmi Ji, the goddess of fortune, is well known for always massaging the lotus feet of Lord Narayana. She is an ideal wife because she takes care of Lord Narayana in every detail. She takes care not only of his lotus feet but of the household affairs of the Lord as well. She cooks nice foods for him, fans him while he eats, smoothes sandalwood pulp on his face, and sets his bed and sitting places in the right order. In this way, she is always engaged in the service of the Lord, and there is hardly any opportunity for any other devotee to intrude upon his daily activities. Prithu Maharaj was therefore almost certain that his intrusion into the service of the goddess of fortune would irritate her and cause her to become angry with him. But why should Mother Lakshmi, the mother of the universe, be angry with an insignificant devotee like Prithu Maharaj? All this was not very likely. Yet Prithu Maharaj, just for his personal protection, appealed to the Lord to take his part. Prithu Maharaj was engaged in performing the ordinary Vedic rituals and sacrifices according to Karma Kanda, or fruitive activities. But the Lord, being so kind and magnanimous, was ready to award Prithu Maharaj the highest perfectional stage of life, namely devotional service. When a person performs Vedic rituals and sacrifices, he does so to elevate himself to the heavenly planets. No one can become qualified to go back home, back to Godhead, by means of such sacrifices. But the Lord is so kind that he accepts a little insignificant service, and therefore it is stated in the Vishnu Purana that by following the principles of Varnashram Dharma, one can satisfy the Supreme Lord. When the Lord is satisfied, the performer of sacrifices is elevated to the platform of devotional service. Prithu Maharaj therefore expected that his insignificant service to the Lord would be accepted by him as being greater than that of Lakshmi Ji. The goddess of fortune is called Chanchala because she is very restless and is always coming and going. So Prithu Maharaj indicated that even though she might go away out of anger, there would be no harm for Lord Vishnu. because he is self sufficient and can do anything and everything without the help of Lakshmi ji. For example, when Garbhodakashai Vishnu begot Lord Brahma from take any help from Lakshmi, who was changing his lotus feet. Generally, if a son is to one impregnates the wife, and in due. But in the case of Lord Brahma's birth, Garbhodakashai impregnate Lakshmi ji, being self-sufficient from his own navel. Therefore, even if the goddess of fortune, there would be no harm. Text 29. Bhajan.
Hare Krishna Prabhu. Sorry, your voice is cutting. Sometime like I'm hearing like fourth word. Just try to speak with
Sorry,
close to
Prabhu.
speaker. I'm unable to hear sometime
Oh,
your
my
voice.
voice is.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, okay.
Hare Krishna.
Okay. We hopefully it's better now. Text 29. Bhajanti atatvam ata eva sadhavo vyudastamaya guna vibramodayam Bhavatpadanusmaranad krute satam nimittamanyad bhagavanna vidmahe. Translation Purport by Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Translation. Great saintly persons who are always liberated take to your devotional service because only by devotional service can one be relieved from the illusions of material existence. O my Lord, there is no reason for the liberated souls to take shelter at your lotus feet except that such souls are constantly thinking of your feet. Purport. The karmis are generally engaged in fruitive activities for material bodily comforts. The jnanis, however, are disgusted with searching after material comforts. They understand that they have nothing to do with this material world, being spirit souls. After self realization, the jnanis who are actually mature in their knowledge must surrender unto the lotus feet of the Lord, as stated in Bhagavad Gita, Bahunam Janmanam Ante. Self realization is not complete unless one comes to the devotional platform. Therefore, it is stated in the Srimad Bhagavatam that those who are Atma Rama, self satisfied, are freed from all contaminations of the material modes of nature. As long as one is affected by the modes of nature, material nature, especially by Rajas and Tamas, he will be very greedy and lusty and will therefore engage in hard tasks, laboring all day and night. Such false egoism carries one from one species of life into another perpetually, and there is no reset, no rest in any species of life. The jnani understands this fact and therefore ceases to work and takes to karma sannyas. Yet, this is not actually the platform of satisfaction. After self realization, the material wisdom of the jnani leads him to the shelter of the lotus feet of the Lord. Then he is satisfied only in contemplating the lotus feet of the Lord constantly. Prithu Maharaj therefore concluded that liberated persons taking to the devotional path have acquired the ultimate goal of life. If liberation were the end in itself, there would be no question of a liberated persons taking to devotional service. In other words, the transcendental bliss derived from self realization, known as Atmananda, is very insignificant in the presence of the bliss derived from devotional service to the lotus feet of the Lord. Prithu Maharaj therefore concluded that he would simply hear of the glories of the Lord constantly and thus engage his mind upon the lotus feet of the Lord. That is the highest perfection of life. The purports. Namo Vishnupadaya Krishna Preshthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swaminiti Namine नमस्ते सरस्वते देवी गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेषा शून्यवादी पाश्चात्यादेशधारिणे जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्तवृंद हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे I humbly seek the blessings of all assembled Vaishnavas and thank you for the opportunity to beautify myself by summarizing from Srimad Bhagavatam. I'll be sharing some lecture notes from lecture given by His Grace Chaitanya Charan Prabhu. And please forgive if I add my own interpretation to this summary. So we are in this chapter titled Lord Vishnu's Appearance in the Sacrificial Arena. And we know how Prithu Maharaj, although was only able to finish 99 of the 100 sacrifices, still, because of his devotion, satisfied Lord Vishnu, and then Lord Vishnu in person appeared to instruct Prithu Maharaj. And the last few verses we have been glorifying, we have been seeing how Prithu Maharaj is glorifying the Supreme Lord. And specifically in today's verses, we are seeing how Prithu Maharaj is almost comparing his position to Lakshmi Ji's or Mother Lakshmi's position. It's very interesting when Prithu Maharaj says, Prabhupada says in the purport that Prithu Maharaj was therefore almost certain that his intrusion into the service of the goddess of fortune would irritate her and cause her to become angry with him. So it's very interesting to see that Prithu Maharaj is making this very audacious statement that he is intruding into the position of Lakshmi Ji. We know how Lakshmi Ji is known for her service attitude to the Lord Vishnu, and Prabhupada also expands on what she does. She cooks, she arranges Supreme Lord's bed, she applies sandalwood, she makes sure everything is in the right order. So she's always with Lord Vishnu and always serving. And Prithu Maharaj, um, just after finishing his yajna, which is sort of a karma kanda yajna, but still he is comparing himself to the position of Lakshmi Ji. So Chaitanya Charan Prabhu was saying that again in bhakti, everything is inclusive. Even audacity or audacious statements like this can be used in bhakti. Audacity doesn't mean disrespect, but um, it is the way of glorifying bhakti. So we can think about another example from Srimad Bhagavatam, where we know Yudhishthir Maharaj, after the war, after the bloodshed, he's very morose, and then he's instructed by Krishna to go visit Bhishma Dev, who's lying in the arrow bed. And Bhishma Dev is glorifying the Supreme Lord to Yudhishthira Maharaj, and then he says that Krishna is so merciful to a pure devotee like me that Krishna came in person to give darshan to me. Again, this is a very interesting statement because Bhishma Dev is saying that Krishna came to see a pure devotee like me. So he calls himself a pure devotee. I mean, we are usually used to only hearing all the senior acharyas or Goswamis and devotees calling themselves very fallen, very sinful. But here we see examples where Prithu Maharaj or Bhishma Dev are basically calling themselves pure devotee. But again, the message here is that the purpose is to glorify pure devotion. Because what Bhishma Dev had was the best that anyone could expect for. What else can one expect where the supreme personality of Godhead comes in person when Bhishma Dev is leaving this world, is leaving this body? Isn't that the goal that we are all trying to get to, like where we remember the Supreme Lord at the end, and we have his thoughts or his darshan, and that's what Bhishma Dev is getting. So, of course, it's the most glorious position. And even here we see Prithu Maharaj is in a similar situation because um, even the Supreme Lord does not give his darshan or does not personally go very easily. We know even to Lord Brahma, Supreme Lord, only instructs basically by or instructs into his heart directly. But here we see Lord Vishnu has come in person, even though Prithu Maharaj has not completed the 100 sacrifices. In fact, Prithu Maharaj got the bigger gift of having the darshan of Supreme Lord just by finishing only 99. So in one sense, the 99 sacrifices, 99 is much greater than the 100, because if he had completed 100 yajnas, Lord Vishnu could not have come because he would have gotten the result of the yajna. But in this case, because he only did 99 with so much devotion, Lord appeared already. So again, Prithu Maharaj's mood here is not to surpass or bypass Lakshmi ji, but to highlight the mercy of the Lord. Um, and that's what we see here, that uh, when pure devotees make this audacious statement, their intent is only to glorify the mercy of the Lord, and not because of their own ego, not that they want to highlight their position, but because they are so happy and jubilant and delighted about the mercy of the Lord that they have received. They are expressing this sentiment. Again, this is not a literal statement where Prithu Maharaj says, "Oh, I'm intruding into the services of Goddess of Lakshmi," but he's just expressing his sentiment that he's so happy that Lord Vishnu came, and because Lord is so merciful, he does come when one performs bhakti, and that's the power of the devotional service. Um, we also see other examples where, for example, other devotees or acharyas have made audacious statements. For example, in Chaitanya Charitamrita, we see that Kaviraj Goswami says that one who worships Krishna but not Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is to be condemned. Again, this seems like a very, very strong statement where if one worships Krishna and does not worship Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, then he is to be condemned. But again, the mood or the intent is not to say Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is greater than Krishna's worship, but because Kaviraj Goswami's attachment or love to Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is so much that he says that if one does not understand that Krishna and Chaitanya Mahaprabhu are the same personalities, then he is to be condemned because he is in ignorance. So he just wants to glorify the position of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu being Krishna by this statement. And we also see Srila Prabhupada made some audacious decisions. For example, he gave initiation to the hippies even before they were practicing the regulative principles. In fact, the regulative principles for hippies were to break the regulative principles, the four regulative principles. But again, Srila Prabhupada, because he knew the power of bhakti, and because he saw in these hippies the desire to get something higher or get higher happiness, he made this audacious decision to give them initiation. Because of that initiation, they will take up to these regulative principles from that point, and then they will get purified quickly because of the power of bhakti. And that's what exactly happened. And again, this is an example where audacity can be used in the service of the Lord. So in kind of summary, we see again that audacity doesn't mean disrespect, but here Prithu Maharaj and Bhishma Dev, we see how they made statements not to highlight their position or their service or their bhakti, but again to glorify the process of bhakti and how merciful the bhakti process is. And that's also the kind of the basic message that comes out of the next verse, text 29, where again Prithu Maharaj is glorifying that our Prabhupada in the purport says that uh, everything, when one does bhakti, that's the ultimate goal. But because even the jnanis who are very, very elevated and they are like away from material desires, but still they don't get the ultimate pleasure unless they get to the worship of the lotus feet of the Lord. So bhakti centers on purity. Um, because when one is performing bhakti, then one is very pure and one's desire is very pure, that Krishna is the most prominent part of his life. So his thoughts and actions, everything is dovetailed towards how can we please Krishna. So every moment one is thinking, oh, am I going to perform something that uh, will please Krishna? So when one develops that attitude, initially it has to be done consciously, like intentionally. One has to thank Krishna, think about Krishna when one does anything, but then it becomes spontaneous at one point. So um, so with purity and bhakti, as we hear more and more about the glory of the Supreme Lord, and we hear about how other devotees are glorifying the Supreme Lord and the process of bhakti, then we also develop attraction to bhakti, and we get the mercy to perform bhakti in a pure way.